Hello, I'm Court and welcome to my channel. For the past few months, I've had this idea pop in my head a few times of why the Minutemen are actually better than what most people think they are. And in this video, I'm going to be discussing those points with you. Now, before you judge my opinion too harshly, make sure that you listen to the whole thing and you have a good idea of where I'm coming from at least. And then feel free to leave a comment of your thoughts. Before I get into the positives and why I think the Minutemen are better than what most people think, I will first discuss the negatives. I don't want to come across as a fanboy or anything. Because oh boy, there's some negatives with the Minutemen. Like the wasted potential with only two named... There's two named Minutemen, that's it, there's two. Pitiful, right? There's no option to build in Diamond City or any of the other towns. That's just extreme wasted potential. I mean, come on, imagine being able to build in Good Neighbor and turn the place around into more of a nicer community. I mean, come on. Or what about having to do all of the side quests yourself, even if you have hundreds of Minutemen all around the Commonwealth? The lack of gear progression for the Minutemen. I mean, come on. I'm over here with plasma weaponry, Gauss rifles, and you guys still have pipe pistols and combat shotguns? Or the disappointment at Quincy. I mean, hear me out. Preston rabbles on about Quincy and the battle there, and you hear a lot about it throughout the game, and it was this big part of the Minutemen, and it broke them, and these guys were the last survivors. So then you go there later on in the game, you know, there's some terminals and stuff that tell you about the battle and what happened, but that's it. I mean, you can kill the gunners, and they'll just respawn anyways, and that's it. Like, you can't even turn Quincy into a settlement. Now, this video is not my problems with the Minutemen, so I'll stop there. But, yeah, just so you guys didn't think I was a complete Minuteman fanboy. No, I'm not a fanboy. I just have an idea in my head of where Bethesda was going with the Minutemen and why they actually work.
All of this just works.
It's just most people look at them at the traditional view of a faction like the Brotherhood of Steel, the Children of Adam, or the Railroad. But I feel like Bethesda had a different route that they wanted to take with the Minutemen, and I'm going to discuss that with you now. My first point that I want to discuss about the Minutemen is the complete creative freedom that the player is given as the leader of the Minutemen. Now, it is not perfect, but the potential is there. Now, if you compare the Minutemen to another faction, for this example, I'll choose the Brotherhood of Steel. As the leader of the Minutemen, you can customize your settlements, which are, I guess, the locations that the faction own, to however you want, whether that be a traditional settlement or a military outpost. Whereas with the Brotherhood of Steel, you're given no locations with complete creative freedom. Now, I say complete creative freedom because there is Boston Airport, but Boston Airport is just there for the player to be able to build the teleporter to enter the Institute, hence why many assets can't be built by the player using the workshop system at Boston Airport. Now, of course, you could suit your settlers up as Brotherhood soldiers at your settlements, but they're still settlers and they're not from the Brotherhood, so it doesn't stay faithful to the lore. Of course you can pretend, but that's not what we're doing here. Whereas with the Minutemen, you don't need to pretend. You're the general, you have the complete creative freedom to choose what your Minutemen wear. And there's nothing stopping you by making outfits equal what rank that Minutemen is at. There's no faction in any Bethesda game where you have complete creative freedom to customize them however you want. You truly do feel like the leader of the Minutemen in this regard. I mean, the possibilities really are endless. Also, you can forge a story with the Minutemen. Now, there's many creators, including myself, who have built in-depth settlements and given them lore and a real place in their Commonwealth. The settlements can be built with a purpose in mind, like a military outpost or a farm which mass produces potatoes to export all across the Commonwealth. Again, it really is just up to you what you do here, and that is complete creative freedom. Now, a side point that I want to cover is the trade routes. Now, this is a little one, but you know, it's pretty cool that you can choose where your trade routes go from which settlement. So you can have a main hub settlement where all the provisioners come from other settlements into that one hub, or you can have a linked system where all the settlements link up to one another. Now again, it's only a small detail, but to have that creative freedom is always welcome. Now a common thing that I hear a lot about the Minutemen is that they're shallow. There's not much to them compared to the other factions, but I think that's for a reason. Now, hear me out, alright? If Bethesda made them in-depth and gave them all of these details like the other factions have, then the creative freedom would no longer be there for the player. But instead, what Bethesda did is they gave you a clean slate for a faction that the player could do whatever they wanted with. And again, there's no faction like this in any other Bethesda game. I mean, when I was a kid and I played Skyrim, all I wanted to do was have a faction that I could control, have my own army that walked across Skyrim, you know? And with the Minutemen, you can actually do that. So the Minutemen are what you make them. The Minutemen are yours. So if you feel like the Minutemen are shallow, that's because you're not putting in the effort to make them something. You have to create the Minutemen. You are the general. You're the savior of the Minutemen. You have to create the Minutemen from the ground up again. There's no foundation anymore. It's all gone. The Minutemen have been destroyed, and there's only a couple left. And you just have the ideology of the Minutemen given to you by Preston. He doesn't give you an army. He doesn't give you anything like that. You have to create it all. Now, I'm sounding like a fanboy here, I know. But I've already discussed that the Minutemen are not perfect. I understand this, but this is just the way I feel about the Minutemen. From my own experience of creating a Commonwealth that I feel like has life to it again. I feel like my Minutemen that I created have life. And honestly, if you want to make your own Minuteman faction and make them however you want to, I really, really urge you to give it a go because it is a lot of fun. And you would have been seeing some background clips in this video, and they are my settlements, most of them. If you're interested in any of them, I have tours for all of them on my YouTube channel. Now, this point I'm going to make isn't necessarily a new point brought up just by me, and no one really thinks like this, but I'm going to add it into the video so that I don't get comments for people saying this, okay? Now, in my opinion, and many others, and it's pretty objective at this point, I mean, so my point I want to make is the Minutemen are the best hope for the Commonwealth. So, you have the Brotherhood of Steel, who want to take food and supplies, and basically if they don't, then the Brotherhood will just take it from them. And then you have the Institute. I mean, do I really need to say anything there? They literally create murdering robots. And then you have the Railroad, who don't really do anything for the people. They're very set on the synths. But they do nothing really to protect the people. But they do nothing for the whole Commonwealth. They don't have a vision for the Commonwealth and how it structures itself and how it runs and how it protects itself. But then you have the Minutemen, who are literally there for the people. Their job is to protect the people. That's what they do. Well, that's what you do as the general. Because if you do nothing, the Minutemen don't grow and there's no presence of the Minutemen. I mean, there'll be Garvey and the little gang up in Sanctuary, but what are they going to do? The aesthetic of the Minutemen is another point I want to bring up. With the laser musket. I mean, come on. A laser musket. What a cool idea. That is so creative and well made. I would have never thought of a laser musket for a weapon, and it works pretty well in Fallout 4. So, that's all I have for why the Minutemen are better than what most people think they are. And if you can see my point, then let me know. And if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. This video was very fun to make, and I really wanted to get my opinion out there on the Minutemen and why I think that they are better than what most people think they are. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel below. Thank you very much for watching, and take care. If you completely disagree with me, then also let me know.